That was amazing. Thank you so much. Okay, so let me go ahead and I'm going to present to all of you the joint venture that we have with the Greater Miami Jewish Federation. But first, I want to thank Michelle Labgold, who is in the back. She's waving her hand. Yeah, you can, it's okay, you can, no, just push them back a little bit maybe. Michelle is the Chief Planning Officer of the Greater Miami Jewish Federation, has been an integral part of where we are right now, and I thank her for being here, I thank her for her support, and we're lucky to have you in our community. So whether you've been part of Temple Israel for decades, recently joined our community, or are simply here as a friend and supporter, your presence means a great deal. And as many of you know, Temple Israel of Greater Miami has been a spiritual home and the cornerstone of Jewish life in this city since 1922. For over 100 years, the congregation has gathered here on 19th Street to pray, learn, and celebrate and support one another through every chapter. Today, I'm honored to share what that next chapter will hopefully look like. While Temple Israel will officially sunset on June 30th, the story is far from over. In fact, we are now laying the foundation for an exciting new future. Temple Israel has entered into a joint venture partnership with the Greater Miami Jewish Federation, a partnership that will ensure the historic campus remains a vibrant center of Jewish life for generations to come. A recent Federation study found that this part of Miami is one of the fastest growing areas for young adults. And with Jewish day school enrollment in Miami-Dade County already 4 times the national average, the desire for more Jewish spaces, educational, cultural, and spiritual, is strong and clear. So what are we planning to build together? You can see on one of this sign, I think, yes. While plans are still evolving, here's what the joint venture envisions. A Jewish day school for middle and high school students from diverse Jewish backgrounds. Currently, this does not exist in Miami-Dade County. If you want your child to have a Jewish education past 5th grade, the only options are Orthodox schools for middle and high school. A new headquarters for Federation and potential other office spaces for Jewish organizations. Multifamily housing, including affordable options for nonprofit professionals, and a multi-use space for community gatherings from holiday celebrations to meetings, concerts, and simchas. We're not just creating a place to gather, but a place to live, work, learn, and to connect as a Jewish community right here on 19th Street. To help bring this vision to life, there's been an established, dedicated team working on real estate, school planning, programming, and a capital campaign. We are committed to honoring Temple Israel's legacy throughout this entire process. That includes preserving our memorial plaques, dedication bricks, archives, religious items with great care and intention. We've also received many thoughtful questions about the joint venture and how it will work. I'm going to take a moment and address some of the frequently asked questions. First, are we giving everything to Federation? The answer is no. This is a partnership. The rights and responsibilities of both Temple Israel and Federation are being defined in a formal joint venture agreement, or something called a JVA. This is not a handover, it's a carefully structured collaboration. Second, what exactly is Temple Israel contributing? Temple Israel will only contribute the property to the joint venture if specific benchmarks are achieved. These benchmarks will be finalized and no property will be transferred until that time. Third, how are we protecting ourselves if things do not go as planned? If the benchmarks are not achieved, the property will not be conveyed. If they are achieved and the property is transferred, the legal documents will include a reverter clause. This ensures that if the joint venture fails to proceed as agreed, the property will revert back to Temple Israel of Greater Miami Incorporated. Fourth, what is Federation contributing to the joint venture? Federation will be contributing many of the upfront costs to the joint venture. These funds will be used to repay existing Temple Israel obligations including mortgages, advances, and supporting early-stage operations of the joint venture. Fifth, what happens to the Narrett Fund? The Narrett Fund will be repaid through the joint venture, but it will remain independent and separate from the joint venture. Sixth, what about member benefits? We've been asked whether current or past members receive any direct financial benefits from a partnership. The answer is no, but here's why. Temple Israel is a nonprofit religious institution. Legally and ethically, a nonprofit cannot distribute financial assets to individuals. Instead, all of our resources are being directed toward a collective legacy, creating the long-term sustainable Jewish life on the campus. Seventh, how will the community stay informed as this unfolds? We are committed to transparency. There will be a dedicated landing page on the Temple Israel website along with the Federation website with regular updates. Federation has a broad communication reach to this community, and they will also help to keep the wider community informed. Temple Israel has always been about community, and this next chapter will be too. We are honoring our past by building a bright and meaningful Jewish future. Thank you for being part of what's next. So, if there are any questions regarding the joint venture, I'm happy to answer them. Norma, let me bring a microphone to you. Hold on.
Thank you. So what happens to the Bertha Abbas Sanctuary and the Gumanik Chapel?
Great question. So that's a great question. So we are currently in an assessment with Richard Heisenbottle and his architectural team. We are determining the viability, let me come back up here. We are determining the viability of the structural spaces. As I've mentioned in many meetings previously, and I know I even mentioned it this morning, we do have a lot of deferred maintenance issues within the buildings. So we're doing everything to determine what can be saved, what cannot, and what the cost is going to be. So we will have a fully done assessment on the Bertha Abbas Sanctuary at the end of May. And then by the end of June, we will have a full cost construction analysis of how much it will cost to restore and what it will cost for maintenance as the future progresses, because we don't want to be in a position again where we can't afford to keep it during its legacy. So no other decisions have been made at this time. And right now, we're just doing our assessments of the physical plant to determine, and we'll bring that to the joint venture for conversation. I want to just take, yes, hold on one second. I want to take one more time to mention that the joint venture is made up of members from the Federation, but on the Temple Israel representation is myself, Mark Lamb, Peter Bermont, and Jane and Leonard Abbas. They are all sitting on the joint venture for us to be having these discussions. Who's next? Ian? Oh, perfect. Thank you.
What is the purpose of the Narrett Fund having approximately $5 million? And what are they going to do with it?
Well, the Narrett Fund doesn't have $5 million at this point. Right now, it's only 1.33.
I know, but they will have $5 million when everything's paid back.
Yeah, about 4. It's about 4.
Okay.
But the Narrett Fund is a separate 501c3. So the Narrett board, under the leadership of Peter Bermont, they will be meeting to discuss the changes to their bylaws and what they do. But Temple Israel of Greater Miami actually has no control over the Narrett Fund because it is a completely separate entity. It's a separate 501c3. So they will determine their new mission in alignment with Temple Israel of Greater Miami Incorporated, the joint venture, and the future of the property. But I wouldn't be able to give you any more information but you can speak to Peter directly about that. But it is a separate 501c3. That's how it was created.
Thank you.
Thank you. Leslie?
I was just curious. I know a lot of organizations currently use this facility for their meetings. Mm-hmm. I know that we've talked about that it's at least a year till anything gets destroyed or destructed or whatever, and then enhanced, of course. So what is that plan? Are those organizations still invited to continue here? I know they're important organizations
Yes.
in Dade County.
So as we work towards what July 1 will look like in terms of our budget, we still, we're still in the negotiating phases with Federation. So we still have to maintain our own budget, and we still have to maintain our own finances. So we will still have the Funding Arts Network and Brickell Literary Society, Prologue, a lot of those organizations who come here to have their luncheons, those will continue for next year. But we are doing everything we can to mitigate the expenses that we have, because even with the congregation sunsetting and all the expenses related to running a congregation, as well as all of the expenses that it takes just to run the building, so when you bring in all of the rental income, that's what we'll have next year, we still have a deficit of over $300,000. And that does not include capital expenditures. So please remember that as we have rainy season and other issues, we are constantly trying to Band-Aid as much as we can, because we have an obligation to our leaseholders to make sure that they have a building that is maintained, especially when we have 430 children every day for school. So they will be allowed here, that is needed income, but again, we are reducing our expenses as much as we can in order to make sure that we are running streamlined, even with a deficit of over 300,000 or so. Yes, Carla, I think Rabbi has a microphone.
So I'm curious about community input into the final planning. For example, I had been hearing about the proposed possible Jewish high school. And in the spirit and the legacy of Temple Israel, I would, as a community member of Miami-Dade County, wish to see a school that would serve the poorest folks in our county, who are right around the corner, alongside whoever's Jewish that wants to come. Wouldn't it be great if we proposed an interfaith high school whose mission was to work on peace, civility, lack of war, and not separation of religion from public? So I just wonder, will there be community input to make that decision?
Thank you, Carla. So on the landing page of the website that I mentioned, there will be an email address. So I think it's jointventure@jewishmiami.org. Again, you can reach out to me, you can shoot me an email, and I can assist with that. But what we're going to do is we're going to send out a note to our congregation and let them know that if they'd like, have ideas, suggestions, that would like to be a part of any of these conversations, to please email this joint address that we're sharing in order to gather all of this information. There will absolutely be opportunity for members of this community to participate, to give ideas, and to let us know their thoughts about what could possibly happen here at 19th and 2nd. So yes, absolutely. So again, that's jointventure@jewishmiami.org. Okay. Yes, Patty, hold on, wait for the microphone, if you don't mind. Thank you.
While the school is still here.
Yes.
Oh, okay, I'm not a microphone person. While the school is still here next year and you're here and so forth, is construction going to be going on to fix the sanctuary and different things?
So that's a very good question. So as I mentioned with the Richard Heisenbottle Architecture and their team, we're going to have this assessment done in the next couple of weeks. From there, we'll have a cost analysis done. Then there will be a determination as to what we will do going forward. But while the school is here, if there's anything within that analysis that we have to mitigate in order to make sure that we don't have continued issues with the sanctuary or any other pieces of the building, we will do that as quickly as possible. Again, I mentioned like the rainy season is coming, hurricane season is coming, and if they can tell us that there's certain pieces of the gutter that needs to be fixed so it doesn't have continued water intrusion, then yes, we will do those things. But overall massive construction is not planned while the school would still be on site. Okay, thank you so much, everybody. Thank you for being here today.